What's up? It's your boy Frank Sirius, a.k.a. Scooby, man, alongside my partner in crime, Mr.
And this one, I'm going to be serious. I'm Dirk DC Vibe Holmes, and together, what's wrong, man?
Nothing, brother. Together. We are
SiriusVybe
Primetime. Up for another episode, man. This time, very, very, very serious, very, very, very important. Special episode. We have on the couch today, candidate for PG County Executive, my guy, my homie, Mr. Calvin Hawkins. Y'all give it up for Mr. Calvin Hawkins, y'all. Yeah. Mr. Hawkins, I'm going to call you Calvin because you from around my way.
Yes, call me what you want to call me.
Just don't call you a loser.
My man, that's real.
So tell us, man, your name rings bells around from where I'm from. I grew up, Eastern Branch, 17th Street, Bay Street, 17th and E, Southeast. Some of my neighbors. I feel like you're one of us. You know what I mean? You come up from where I come up from. Tell us a little bit of your history about, where you come up, where you grow up at, and where you moved to.
Yeah. I grew up, as you said, over at 17th and C Southeast. Grew up in the Eastern Branch Boys Club. That's where I learned to play sports, from swimming to football to basketball to tabletop tennis, pool, bumper pool, you name it. But I also, I also learned the importance of free lunches. We would leave Eastern Branch during the summer, and we would walk around the Hawkins to get those free lunches, and it was just always experience because, the neighborhoods, you played against the neighborhoods.
Right, yeah.
And for me, growing up in 17th and C, Southeast, around that area, what always stuck out to me was we were young men, young boys, learning our way. But then on 15th and Independence was a open-air drug strip. Yep. Unlike today, them older guys would not even let you as a young person hang out there. That's not what that was about. You got to stay in the boys club, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back then, the hustlers made sure young people did the things they needed to do. So for me, that was a experience that I still live with. As I say, coming from Southside, that Bay Street, having someone like Bo Sharp that had his own football teams.
Yeah, that's my uncle.
Yeah, oh, wow, yeah. Small world, yeah. Bo and the Halos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when they weren't even the Halos. They were just singing and opening up for Harold Melvin and Blue Notes for Easton, turning out the talent shows at the high school. Yeah. And for me, having an opportunity as a young kid to sneak in there, because they used to practice, believe it or not, over at the boys club on the 4th floor on the stage. Yeah. I used to love watching
back when the Eastern Branch swimming pool was actually open.
Yes, when it was open.
When I was coming along, the pool wasn't open no more.
Oh wow, that's deep. That was our refuge in the summer. Indoor pool, jumping off the balcony at night. Yeah. Breaking in there, swimming all night. Yeah, that was it.
We had to grow up swimming at East Capitol up at
Eastern
Mark.
And they had built East Capitol, believe it or not, while I was growing up. But that was the first Olympic pool that I remember. I swam on the swim team for Eastern Branch. And we would swim at East Capitol. We would go to Cedar Knoll Youth Center when they had a pool down there. Okay. Go all the way to Richmond, Silver Spring, swimming. All black team.
Oh, yeah?
Winning those medals.
Okay. So you was a swimmer. Man.
Yeah, I'm a swimmer, but I never made the starting swimming team. They had some bad boys back then. Okay. In case one of the homies looking from back in the day.
Right.
Like, man, they called me Teddy. Teddy, you didn't make the swim team. You were on it, but you didn't make the first team.
Right. So how you get the name Teddy?
Was just a nickname growing up. Over in the neighborhood. I still don't know how I got it. People just started calling me Teddy,
Yeah, because Calvin to Teddy, that's a little different.
Yeah.
So the middle name was Theodore.
Look, no. We go back around the way for those who still live around there. Calvin Hawkins, no, that's Teddy Hawkins.
Yeah,
that's not Calvin Hawkins. Those nicknames that stay with you from the dirt.
Okay. You ain't used to sing no Teddy Pendergrass songs or nothing.
Man, look, only thing I had that dealt with Teddy was some Teddy jeans that I never wore. You know, we were Levi's and Lee dudes back in my day.
Yeah.
Right.
So how did you get into your political career? Like, how did that start?
It started for me, believe it or not, living in the city, having the opportunity, believe it or not, I liked Jesse Jackson, but Marion Barry, watching him and watching how he moved through the city, you know, and how, you know, my father drove for Marion Barry.
Oh, really?
And for me, watching him, he was always that man among men. When Marion Barry walked in the room, most of the time late, he commanded that room. And I was sitting in his chauffeur limousine when my father would bring it home, you know, in front of the wheel and looking at the little car phone. But more importantly, when he came in communities, how, whether you were a senior citizen, a young kid who, like myself and probably you too as well, involved in the Mayor Berry Summer Youth Program.
Absolutely.
And guys on the street, whether they had been involved in his program before he became the mayor, he was over Pride, you know, guys coming home from Lawton, he gave them opportunities, and blacks who had businesses, he really helped them get on their feet.
Contracts and all that stuff.
So I always modeled mine. I went to Bowie State, so I attempted to model my life as a student government president after Marion Barry. You know, I thought I was Marion Barry at Bowie State, and to this day, people call me the Marion Barry of Prince George's County. So that's how I got involved in politics.
That's cool. Can we give a quick shout out to Marion Barry
Yeah.
for inspiring generations?
Yeah.
I mean, well beyond. I just signed my son up today for Marion Barry Youth
That's what I'm
Summer
talking
Program
about.
job. So it's full circle.
Yeah.
You had a job with Marion Barry's program. I had a job with Marion Barry's program. Now I'm signing my son up.
That's
so
real.
you're talking about over case for 40 years, 50 years.
Yeah.
Marion Barry's still inspiring and giving out jobs.
Yeah. Scooby, now I want to just say this. It's funny you brought that up. I went as a Minnesota Avenue to D.C. Department of Employment Services recently. And I remember for Kimmy Hughes and Norm Nixon, they used to run that Mayor Youth Leadership piece. And then I went in there and saw Norman's son working there. Your son is getting ready to experience the program, Summer Youth Program. And here it is, Norm's son working there.
That's
two
crazy.
generations. That's two generations.
That's called legacy.
Yeah, that's legacy,
That's
for
legacy,
real.
yeah. One more time for Marion Barry. God damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So when did you move from the city to PG County?
My father and mother divorced when I was about in the third grade, and we moved to Southwest. I went to Payne Elementary School. I went to Kimball Elementary School, and I went to Patterson over in Southwest off South Capitol Street. Lived 2 years on Elmira Street. Then my mother moved us to an apartment in Glass Manor. And from like 1970 to really 1991, I lived in Glass Manor, same apartment, same neighborhood. Up there, if you know about Glass Manor, we call that the Hill.
Yeah.
Because of where we were. You know, we represented. And what was so interesting about that experience, I had come from the city, come from Southeast. Then that South Capitol border, you had the Southeast guys rolling up in Glass Manor, thinking it was all Maryland Bammers in there, but not knowing that they had some Southeast guys that was ready for the wreck, you know. So probably guys you can't remember from around the way, Herbert, William Rat, all those guys. I would always bring them out into Glass Manor. So when the guys from Southeast would come over, they thought they were dealing with some rich little suburban kids when they were really dealing with some guys who had just came over.
I call it Southeast Maryland.
Yeah, Southeast Maryland. That's it.
He grew up in Southview, so he knew all about that.
Yeah, Southview. That was it.
So when did you actually decide to? So you did your first political appointment or election or elected space was in Maryland?
Was in Maryland,
Okay.
yes. When we moved out to Prince George's County, believe it or not, 1970, we were the first black family to move in the apartment complex that we lived in.
In Glass Manor?
Yeah, in Glass Manor.
Wow.
Believe that. Look at it now, you wouldn't believe it.
Man, you started the movement.
You know it. I thought I was the movement. At age 9, my mother would look for me, and I was at the little North Bridge tenant meeting, the only black and the only kid in there, trying to represent like I was Marion-Barry, because, watching him through SNCC and Dr. King and all them, I really thought I was an activist at that age. But when I really got into my own was at Oxon Hill High School. Okay. We were 40% black, 60% white, graduating class. And, I was up there like, no, this is what we going to do. And especially I graduated in 1979. Marion-Barry won his seat in 1978. And I remember Nicholas Avenue, which is now Martin Luther King Avenue, they had the first Martin Luther King March from the big chair at the bottom of Martin Luther King up to Covenant Baptist Church. Okay. Had Stevie Wonder, Walter Fontroy, all the black leaders. Yeah. And I saw Marion-Barry there, coming there like he was the man. I couldn't wait to go back to Oxon Hill High School and act like I was the man. So that's when it really started. Okay. Then we went on, and I'll leave it at this. We went on to Bowie State, where in 1979 I went down there wearing suits. I still had that Southeast flavor, wearing suits, carrying a briefcase, and acting like I owned the yard as a freshman. So I always had that attitude to serve. But in order to serve, you got to lead. I didn't like leading from the back, so I went in and challenged the political system that was our student government and student leadership. Ran. Wasn't even on campus 3 weeks. Trying to run for office, got my butt beat, but I stayed in the fight. Yeah. And ended up becoming the student government president at Bowie State and did a lot of things. This was during the time, you all may be too young to remember, we had with a guy named Tony Brown who had Tony Brown's Journal in 1982. That's when we were going through historically black colleges were under attack across the country. That's why what the current president is doing is nothing new. It's just under another banner. And for me, I worked hard with the other historically black college student leaders from Coppin State, Morgan State, UMES. We were fighting to say, nah, we're going to save the black colleges. And
this was back then?
Yeah, this was back then. And Congressman Kwasi Mfume was a council member and a radio personality in the city of Baltimore. That was what was happening back then.
Okay. That's important to know that you ran for, you said class president?
Student government.
Student government, yeah. Okay. And lost.
Yeah, lost.
Because
punished.
I think it's important to know what defeat feels and smells like in order to be able to get back up and run again.
And I will tell you, that was a life-changing experience for me, But I had a great experience at Bowie as a student leader from my time in ROTC, just doing it. And for your listening audience to know, for me, Bowie State was where I probably started learning about what it was to have responsibilities, and I had a rewarding time, but I also had a challenging time for me, and I don't know, well, it is appropriate because we're being authentic. I went to ROTC, I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky. I had done everything I needed to do to become a second lieutenant in the United States Army. Back then, they call it crack today. Back then, it was freebasing, cocaine, smoking cocaine. And in my third year at Bowie, I got caught up in smoking cocaine, lost my way, ended up doing some armed robberies, ended up in Lawton for 5 years and 9 months of my life. So basically, for my 20s, from 21 to 27, I was in Lawton. I wasn't at the clubs. I wasn't in that. I was in the University of the Department of Corrections, learning my way. But the fortunate thing about it, everything that I went to Lawton for, everything they convicted me for, was actions that I actually committed. It wasn't like the system did me wrong. These white people railroaded me. I made some mistakes, and I think that really helped me while I was away to accept why I was there, and what I want some of the people who may be struggling with some of the changes and challenges in life is not where you've been, it's where you're going and where you end up. And for me, that experience helped me as a public servant, because the humility that is mine, I can lead, but a lot of people don't understand how some of the decisions I make, because I'm always thinking about those men who will never get an opportunity that I have, which is to return to society, receive my freedom again, but more significantly is have an opportunity to run for elected office in Prince George's County, where we have one of the highest incomes and highest education levels anywhere in the country. And I say that to say, coming where I've come from, incarceration to being elected by the citizens of Prince George's County to a county-wide office, not on any political tickets, no political machine, just basically running on my 30 years as a county employee, working in the community, that the people saw fit to support me, and that's the journey I'm on now.
Yeah. So let's talk about that 30-year run. Like, what was some of your jobs in the county during your 30-year tenure?
When I left, when I worked with Kevin Chavez in D.C., I left in 1995 to come out and work within the first black county executive, Wayne Carey. And just to have that opportunity to work with him as he was transforming Prince George's County, it just gnawed at me. It just gave me the incentive to want to come out and work with Prince George's County, help change. I had the privilege of working with Marion Barry, not up close, but, in the D.C. government. Working in Prince George's County gave me a chance to come and work with Wayne and bring some of my experiences. I started in the Department of Public Works. Believe it or not, 4 days before the blizzard of 96, here they were trying to tell a guy that never drove a truck, let alone a plow. They teaching me how to, and they sent me over in Kentland, one of the most troublesome areas you can send anybody in the snow. So I had that experience and went on to work closely with Wayne Carey and his executive team, on his executive team. We have 27 municipalities in Prince George's County, towns and cities, and I started off as his municipal liaison, because at the time he had been left with a major deficit by the former county exec, who was the current governor, Paris Glendenning, and the municipalities were upset with him because he was taking them back resources, because he had to, in Prince George's County, you have to run on a balanced budget. You can't pass a budget by law. It has to be balanced. So he had to find money to cover those expenditures and those holes. So I had to go out and talk to the municipalities and their leadership and their citizens. And after that, I had the chance to work as an intergovernmental affairs officer, where I worked with the different agencies, with the private sector and the public. But basically, that's how those are some of the jobs I held in Prince George's County. If I may say one other thing, the best job, even better than county council member that I've ever had in Prince George's County, was working in the Office of Emergency Management under the Office of Homeland Security, because my responsibility was to go out throughout the county educating citizens, young, old, or elderly, about the importance of preparing for emergencies and disasters, because this was right after 9/11, so 9/11, I should say. So for me, I talked with old people, young people, middle-aged people, black people, white people, Hispanic people, you name it. But what was important, they could be straight, gay, Republican, Democrat. All of them had the same mindset. They want to learn about how to respond to emergencies and disasters. So I say that was my best job, because it was never issues about these white people, these black people, these Republicans, these Democrats, they're a little gay, they're a little straight. It was all about people in our county trying to learn how to prepare for emergencies and disasters.
Yeah. I think sometimes when emergencies and disasters happen, that's the one time we kind of forget about everybody's social status and
Exactly.
where they might be, whether they gay, straight, black, white, purple, green, or whatever. We kind of forget about all that because at the end of the day, we all want our families to be safe. Mm-hmm. And it's good that you got a chance to kind of get into people's safe space and talk to them about, the importance of being prepared or what's the next steps after emergencies. With leading to my next questions, why do you, after, this fulfilling career as a public servant, why do you want to be county executive?
We are at a very pivotal moment in Prince George's County. I've had the privilege, as I said, for working in Prince George's County for the last 30 years. I believe I've worked with some of the most dynamic public servants from Wayne Carey. He's the GOAT. People can say what they want. Wayne Carey is the GOAT when it comes to Prince George's County elected officials, public servants, black or white, in my humble opinion. Having that chance to work with him, and then I had some time to work with Rashawn Baker, but for me, the last 6 years in Prince George's County, we have dealt with some of the most profound experiences we will ever have from COVID-19. We have never experienced that in the history of Prince George's County. I dare say this country. Watching how we responded and organized around that and having that opportunity for the last 6 years. 2 of the 6 years I served, my colleagues on the council voted for me to serve as chair. My second year on the council, they voted for me to serve as vice chair. So what that tells me is leadership matters. And I think having a chance to work with Angela Alsobrooks has been a real eye-opening opportunity. We have done more than any other county exec council working together, period. We've built 14 brand new schools in 6 years. I bring that up because that's not happening anywhere else in this country, let alone the state. But we didn't just build the 14 new schools. We ensured our educators had the resources and the professional training to elevate the learning opportunities for our scholars, and that has been very important to me. But not only that, we were the first ones, we're the only ones, we have a cancer center here in Prince George's County. No other place in the state has that. And we are working on how to respond to our young people and some of the concerns they have about having things to do after school during the summer. So we're at a point where we need someone who understands what's happening with our public school system, how we expand our public safety portfolio so people feel safe in Prince George's County, because if they don't feel safe, no matter what we're doing and what we tell them, we can't have safe schools, we can't have safe neighborhoods, and also economic development. Businesses will not find their interest in Prince George's County because of crime. And lastly, I want to build on our economic development opportunities so that we can help our senior citizens, we can continue to help our veterans, and something dear to my heart, we can continue to give ex-offenders, returning citizens, some opportunities to become productive and responsible citizens.
And so just based on like the structure of Prince George's County, so you're a councilman at large right now currently, right?
Yes.
And then you have councilmen that have a district.
Yes.
Right. Can you explain the difference?
What the two council member at large roles are, because we have 9 single member districts that cover the 499 square miles of Prince George's County. Single member council members are concerned about their respective district. Everything they're fighting for their district. The two at large, don't come from a parochial perspective. They're looking at what's best for Prince George's County. So they're what you call the tiebreakers, you know. So you really have 3 council members. You have your single member council district member, and then you have your 2 council members at large. So we add support to the single council members in their interest to advance what's going on in their district. So it's an exciting opportunity. I can float in each of the councilman districts. And as the first council member at large, with the other council member at large, what happens is many of the single member district council members, like Flex and like this my district, you don't come in my district without checking with me. But I'm Calvin Hawkins.
Like
I was elected by the citizens of Prince George's County. I'm going to go where I need to go, but I'm going to be courteous and let them know I'm coming. I'm not asking, I'm coming. I'm only sharing with you out of courtesy that I'm coming. So I have a great relationship with the council members and as they represent their districts. But again, I represent the entire county. So that's the difference. We can go anywhere. We engage. We, like someone from District 8 is not going to go to District 9. District 8 is like Fort Washington, Oxon Hill. They're not going to go to District 1, Laurel, Beltsville, and tell that council member what they're going to do, whereas I can go and say, hey, I'm over here. This is what I'm doing. Let's work together on it.
SiriusVybe. Got my brother Skeety.